Okay, so this is going to be a review between the MM711 and the Razer VIPER Mini, or a comparison, sorry, I should say. I'm going to get into a sound test in a second, but I want to go over a few main things. First, the RGB. The RGB on the MM711 is just a lot nicer. It's a lot brighter. The VIPER Mini is very dull. It's on the bottom and the top. MM711 scroll wheel in the back. But yeah, I'm going to unplug them both now. The other thing I wanted to go over is the MM711 is known for having very bad build quality. So if that does turn you off, I would suggest just immediately going with the VIPER Mini. I've never seen anybody really have issues with the VIPER Mini. So yeah, there's also different variants of this mouse. There's a blue, green, and gold also you can find. I don't know if they're all readily available. You might have to go on eBay or Mercari. But yeah, the only other variant of this is Hello Kitty. So if you're into that, you can get the Hello Kitty one. But the sound test is now. So right and left click for VIPER Mini. Scroll wheel. Side buttons. MM711, right and left click. Side buttons. Scroll wheel. So the right and left click is much nicer on the VIPER Mini. There's almost no travel, like at all. Whereas on the MM711 there's a ton of travel. It actuates here. They're terrible. They have a ton of wobble. The only place that actually feels nice to click is right here, and the only people clicking here are people that claw grip, like aggressively claw grip. If you press at the front, they're gonna feel terrible. You can't press at the back because they're so heavy. I can't actually press this one here. It's so heavy. So yeah, these are just Omron 20Ms. These are optical V2s. The scroll wheel is much nicer on the MM711, I think. It's less sandpapery and more tactile. It feels like bump after bump after bump after bump. Whereas on the VIPER Mini, it feels like you're getting a bump and then there's air and then there's bump. It's more sandpapery. Like, it's gritty. The tactility isn't as strong. And it's a lot louder. The side buttons I think are about equal. They both have some travel on the back one, but the front one is fine. So yeah, the feel of them I think goes to the VIPER Mini, but overall they both are fine to me. The build quality on both of them, it's not even you can't even, I don't even know what to say. The VIPER Mini is built like, you can't make it creak, you can't make it flex, you can't like do anything. You can't, there's no wobble on the clicks, there's nothing. The MM711, I can sit here and press this. They click in so easily. I've done it while playing. You can click them in while playing, and if you press down on the top too hard, the mouse literally collapses. Basically, the inside, the sensor pushes up, and it activates the DPI also. So yeah, the bottom plate like actually shakes sometimes. So my copy is kind of, yeah. I got like one of the first batches of it though, so I'm not really complaining. The sensor I also forgot to mention is a 3389, 3359. In the weighting is, I wanted to keep that to last so then you could make your decisions off the first features, is 58. They're the exact same weight. So yeah, 3359 or 3359, 3389. The only difference is liftoff distance that you have to change with tape. If you want to change it, you can actually change it with the VIPER Mini because it is pretty high. The MM711 goes up to 16,000 DPI, whereas this one goes up to 8,500. Doesn't matter, they feel the exact same. And you do have to download the Cooler Master software so that you can change the smoothing that comes on the mouse and the debounce time. VIPER Mini, do not download Razor Synapse, it's nothing to change. The feet are much better on the VIPER Mini when you sand this down. I've not sanded it down, but even without sanding it down, they still feel better than the MM711. They're just scratchy on the MM711. It feels like plastic. They need to be changed immediately. But the cable is much nicer on the MM711. With the bungee, it's passable. VIPER Mini cable is just like, it's terrible. It keeps its shape. Like, look at that. Like, if I pull more cable out, look at that. It's so bad. Whoa. Sorry about that. You're gonna have to paracord it. Thankfully, it's built well. But I did take the bottom sticker off so I can easily mod it. The feet are not at the, or the screws are not under the feet. They're at the middle, so you don't actually have to take off the feet. But I think overall, I don't see any point in buying an MM711 unless you are using it for aesthetics and you need the gold copy, or you need the dark green copy, or something like that that you're actually never going to use, because apparently these special colors have worse build quality than the normal ones do, and the matte coating is a lot nicer than the glossy coating. So don't go for a glossy MM711 Cooler Master mouse. Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention is the holes in the MM711 are really aggravating. Even the slightest, like, they put little holes on your hand, and they just, like, they're way too big, and they didn't like sand them down or anything. They're really rigid, and you can feel like the edges of them. The MM711 is also much bigger than the VIPER Mini. As you can see here, the hump is just much bigger. It's a lot wider, and it's a little bit longer, but for claw grip, I prefer the MM711 shape because it has the hump. But lately, I've been kind of fingertip claw hybriding, so the VIPER Mini has been a lot nicer. And I haven't used the MM711 in a while, besides for this video, because of the issues it has. But the shape is nice, so yeah, I would still say only for B-roll you would probably want to get this mouse. I think in 2020 there's much better options, especially because these two mice are at about the same price point. Razor's basically handing you this mouse that is easily a top tier mouse if you sand down the plastic piece, put new feet and a cable on it. Paracording is not hard, by the way. It's a lot less stressful than people make it out to be. Once you, if it's a modern mouse and it has no ribbon cables, you really can't damage anything. So yeah, that's gonna be the end of this video. My recommendation, no matter what hand size you are, because shape is personal, but no matter what hand size you are, I think you're still gonna be able to find a grip with the VIPER Mini, because it's not an aggressive shape at all. It's very neutral. So yeah, that's gonna be the end of this video. Peace.